Mammoth bees, monumentally huge bees in your face, violent whacking venomous bees in your clothes. Titanic toxic bees are everywhere. It's like ants in your pants except worse, especially if you have a pollen allergy. It's dangerous, but thank God it's just hypothetical, right? In Nepal, honey harvesters are required to scale up the sides of cliffs so that they can get stung by 100 bees, with the only positive being that they get paid an insane amount of money for all their hard work. Now really imagine that. Like you dangling off the side of a literal cliff. If you slip up, you will die. And the entire time, bees are trying to sting you. Wind runs past you, the support line shaking ever so much as it holds you dangerously high off the ground. One mistake, and it's all over for you. In this video, we will be going over how people in Nepal risk their lives to collect one of the most unique drugs in the world. You heard me right. This honey is a drug. This honey is a traditionally harvested psychoactive substance. The tradition stretches hundreds of years with the natives of Nepal. The Gurung ethnic group has been carrying out this tradition for generations. In a sense, the dangers of honey have become a way of life for them. Now you may be hearing this, and you may not know who the Gurung are. So let me explain. The Gurung, also known as the Tamu, are an indigenous group of people who reside within the Himalayan regions of Nepal. They are celebrated for their rich and complex heritage, with layered and multifaceted ideas and beliefs, and rich customs and traditions. The language these people speak is known as Tamuki, which is one of the many languages that are part of the Tibeto-Burman language family. For reference, this is the categorization used for the many rich, distinct, and culturally related languages that are spoken by the native populations and ethnicities of the Himalayan mountains. Additionally, the Gurung are a diverse group of people, with many who chose to believe in Buddhism, Hinduism, other indigenous animistic traditions, and even atheism. This diversity of beliefs makes the Gurung a strong person who is highly adaptive and willing to change to fit with the times. However, despite their willingness to change at their heart, they are fundamentally still of the Gurung. The Gurung and their culture is rich and layered. They are a people with much folklore, many songs and dances, stories, and complex community lives. However, if there is a thing that would describe them, it would be the community. This cultural respect for the community shows in their historical service in the British and Indian militaries. They served as Gurkha soldiers and fought to protect and serve the new communities they became a part of. This made them renowned and respected people within the ranks of most militaries their people were a part of. With such a history and tradition behind them, the Gurung people harvest honey from the world's largest honeybee species. The Himalayan giant honeybee is huge compared to most normal bees, and this tendency to supersize is reflected in everything they do. For reference, the size of the honeybee's nest is 1.6 feet, and the honeybee itself is about 13.5 millimeters long, whereas the giant honeybee grows to be about 3 centimeters long. At least twice as large as the honeybee. With big sizes comes an even bigger package, a package of pain, that is. The stingers on Himalayan giant honeybees are larger and can deliver much larger doses of venom, and that is not it. They hurt more, and they have an easier time ripping through clothes so that they can tear into your skin. In addition to these, bees are aggressive. Something as small as a squirrel will be killed on sight if it so much as thinks of looking at the hive. With all that, it might make these bees sound terrifying, however. You also need to remember that bees have venom. Remember, big bee, big pain. With them being twice as large as a typical bee, they can deliver doses of venom twice as intense as other bees. This makes their stings much more dangerous. In addition to this, the chemical composition of the venom is different from that of the typical honeybee toxin. This venom is more concentrated. This means that the stings from these bees result in a huge amount of pain and swelling, more intense allergic reactions, and the potential for more serious complications, especially when stung by many stings. And trust me, you will be stung by more than one. After all, these bees are infamously aggressive. Because of this, these bees are insanely dangerous and can kill people. Now that we know why the bees are dangerous, we need to understand how honey harvesters can climb up to such high heights and harvest these beehives, knowing the risk and danger of what they're doing, especially when the job is so dangerous. The first step of harvesting bee honey is the step of finding beehives. Honey hunters need to identify the location where there are beehives to harvest them. To do this, they need to have a thorough understanding of the local geography and the pattern and behavior underlying how bees choose where they build their nests. Because of this, the task of finding hives to harvest requires much knowledge and experience. Once the location of a hive is found, we begin the process of preparing for the harvest. This includes many rituals. These rituals include making offerings to local deities and seeking protection from the danger of the bees. This may sound excessive or superstitious to many. However, within the context of the culture, whether or not the harvesters receive divine protection doesn't matter, because the act of engaging in a ritual like this is a way to boost the confidence and morale of the people going to harvest this honey. And with the high risk of a job, having spiritual reassurance can make all the difference, since if you make one mistake, it can easily result in your death. When going up to harvest honey, there are some ways in which harvesters climb up to these extreme heights. One of the most common methods for this is to use a ladder. Another is to use a rope. However, generally speaking, the method used depends mostly on the situation and location of the specific beehive. However, these methods provide many risks. Generally speaking, the job of harvesting honey is extremely risky because of the following reasons. Risk of falling. The danger of bee attacks is due to the bees being highly defensive. Dangers from the environment like wild animals, unexpected weather, and so on. One of the most immediately noticeable things that we see with the practice is that many harvesters choose not to wear a beekeeping suit, even though it is the best way to stay protected from the bees. However, there are practical reasons as to why they do this. Beekeeping suits a bulky hot, and many people don't trust them because they aren't traditional. What this means in practice is that many choose not to wear these suits because the job is physically demanding. And because of this, you want to reduce overheating and you want to stay mobile. In addition to this, people don't like to wear the suit because it isn't tradition. And experienced hunters often don't need these suits because they have learned an innate sense for the bees and have the experience to use techniques like smoke to keep the bees calm. Because of these reasons, what we see is that many harvesters choose to wear some clothes to cover most of their body. However, often it's not comprehensive in its coverage. However, with all this risk and all the hard work that goes into farming this honey, what's so special about it is that they can't just farm it like any other form of honey. This honey has a special quality to it. Think about how some flowers can have different effects on the body based on the compounds found within them. The specific effects of each plant depend on the range of symptoms, and effects can vary wildly from plant to plant. Some plants make you dizzy when confused, while others can outright kill you. The thing is that the effects and compounds in some flowers can also be found in the nectar they secrete. So when a bee lands on a flower with psychoactive nectar and uses it to make honey, what we get is a drug. The honey that the giant Himalayan honeybees is psychoactive with several effects on the human body. This is because of the nectar from the rhododendron flowers. The flower and its parts are dangerous for consumption. However, the bigger issue is that the gray anotoxins are inconsistent and harder for the body to break down. Whereas with the mad honey, the gray anotoxins have been pre-digested, making them easier for the body to absorb. In addition to this, the concentration of those toxins is more consistent in the honey when compared to the flower. However, when ingested, we can expect this. Picture this. You're eating this exotic honey which you imported from the Himalayas, and you take the recommended amount, making sure not to take too much. And slowly but surely, you feel the world turn around you, practically melting, pitching, and rolling as you begin to hallucinate. Your head feels weightless, being thrown from side to side like paper in a gust of wind. This feels disorientating. Sure. However, you can't help but feel a slight desire within you, begging you to try just a little more. Your hands are slick and sticky as you take another spoonful into your mouth and spill a little on your hand. You pass out. The honey harvested from the bees is known as mad honey. Common side effects include lightheadedness, dizziness, hallucinations, and in higher doses, more severe reactions like low blood pressure and loss of consciousness. However, honey isn't just a way to get high. It's used in places like Nepal and Turkey as a medicine, often used to treat conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, and gastrointestinal disorders. And another thing, it's popular among couples because they say it helps with frigidness, especially with impotence. This gives the drug a high demand due to its many benefits and medical, recreational, and procreational uses. With such a high demand, it begs the question, can the supply meet such a demand? And the simple answer is the supply is limited. This is because honey can only be produced in to select few areas, which results in scarcity. The process of harvesting this honey is about intensive, and because of the risk of the job, the cost of producing this honey is also really high. Because of the cost of production and the limited amount of places where the honey can be produced, the supply of mad honey is highly limited. Because of this, the price of mad honey is high. Strong and potent mad honey can easily fetch up to $100 per 100 grams. Of course, the price of the honey can vary wildly based on who's welling it, the quality of what they are selling, and how much they are selling. With these limitations in the mad honey trade, that begs the question, why can't we just farm mad honey like any other type of honey? The reason for this is complex and is made up of many significant challenges and risks. It might be easy to forget this, but bees can process the gray anotoxins, which are found in the rhododendron. This means that depending on the species of bee and the species of flower used in the production of the honey, we run the risk of harming the bees. This is because it's possible for bees to unintentionally kill themselves due to gray anotoxin overdoses. This makes the bee population more volatile and harder to predict. This means that it becomes much harder to farm mad honey in an apiary because of how mad honey is. Additionally, many countries consider the cultivation of these plants and bees to be illegal due to them being considered invasive species, which could lead to ecological issues. The harvesting of mad honey in Nepal is more than just a daring profession. It is a testament to human resilience, cultural heritage, and the delicate relationship between people and nature. For centuries, the Gurung people have risked their lives scaling treacherous cliffs, enduring countless bee stings, and battling extreme conditions to collect this rare and potent honey. To them, this is not merely an economic endeavor, but a practice deeply woven into their traditions, beliefs, and identity. The meticulous process, from locating the hives to performing spiritual rituals for protection, demonstrates how the harvesting of mad honey is more than just a job. It is a way of life passed down through generations. Despite the danger, the demand for mad honey remains high, fueled by its rarity and the unique effects it provides. Used for medicinal, recreational, and even aphrodisiac purposes, this honey commands a steep price, making it a highly sought-after commodity. However, this very demand raises questions about sustainability. With limited regions capable of producing mad honey and the sheer difficulty of harvesting it, supply remains scarce. Moreover, the well-being of the Himalayan giant honeybee, the key to this entire process, is a growing concern. As environmental changes, habitat destruction, and potential overharvesting threaten bee populations, there is an urgent need to ensure that this practice does not lead to ecological imbalance. The idea of farming mad honey may seem like a logical solution, but it comes with its own set of challenges. The very compounds that make mad honey so unique, gray anotoxins, are difficult to control and could prove fatal to the bees if mishandled. Additionally, restrictions on cultivating rhododendron plants and raising these specific bees in artificial environments make large-scale production nearly impossible. While some may argue that technological advancements or controlled environments could one day provide an alternative, the reality is that mad honey, in its truest form, is deeply tied to the wild cliffs of Nepal and the expertise of those who harvest it. As interest in mad honey grows worldwide, it is crucial to find a balance between preserving this ancient tradition, protecting the bees, and ensuring the safety of those who risk their lives to bring this rare substance to market. Whether through better safety measures for harvesters, conservation efforts for bee populations, or ethical trade practices, the future of mad honey depends on a sustainable approach. What remains undeniable is that the story of Nepal's mad honey is one of courage, culture, and a deep respect for nature. A story that continues to unfold high up in the cliffs, where the world's largest bees guard their golden treasure.